welcome to the Husky Heritage Podcast, where I interview people from around the world that go to our school. Today I'm here with Annalie Boria, and she's from the Dominican Republic. Her parents first moved to Boston and then went to Connecticut and had her, and later on they moved to Florida because the weather was way easier to adapt to. How long did your parents live in the U.S. before they had you?
My parents actually had me right as soon as they got to the United States.
Where in Dominican Republic are you from?
My parents are from Santo Domingo, the capital of Dominican Republic.
How did you learn how to speak Spanish?
I grew up with Spanish as my first language, so from right off the bat, when I was a baby, that's what I spoke. And then I learned English, the reverse of how people usually learn it. I learned English as I went to school, not as my first language.
Did you ever live in the Dominican Republic for some time?
No, I haven't, but I do visit frequently. I go every single summer and every single holiday season, so it feels like I live there sometimes.
What does your culture revolve around?
My culture revolves a lot around family traditions and just coming together, and I feel like a lot of not only Dominican families, but Latino and Hispanic families in general revolve around familiar traditions.
What are some traditions that you celebrate in your culture?
We celebrate Nochebuena, which here would be known as Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve over there is much larger and it's more of a celebration than it is here. So we celebrate that with our families. We also celebrate Carnaval around the time of our Independence Day, which is just a carnival and a parade, and it's a lot of traditional music and costumes.
Is Christmas Eve celebrated with a gathering, or do you go somewhere and it's also a parade?
No, Christmas Eve is more of a family gathering over there. You gather your family and you sort of just sit around the table and kind of just be thankful for having each other in that moment.
Are there any traditional foods for Christmas Eve?
We eat a lot of pernil, which is pork, and we eat rice and beans and just what you would think of when you think of Hispanic food.
Which one's your favorite?
My favorite would probably have to be sancocho, which is sort of a stew that we eat with white rice.
What are some cultural foods that aren't specific to any holidays?
Well, year-round, we eat empanadas and croquetas, and I feel like that's what we're most known for. But those are really, you can find them. The thing about those foods is you can find them almost in any Hispanic country, but every single country, especially the Dominican Republic, does it differently.
What would you say is different about the Dominican Republic from other places?
About
the food.
The food? Okay. Well, the food, I feel like the food, specifically the empanadas, the dough is different, and I feel like it all just depends on what area you're in and what resources are in that area. Let's say there's corn abundance in one area, then you're going to be eating a lot of food with corn, or plantains, which is what we're known for a lot. There's a lot of dishes with plantains in them.
How would you describe your cultural food when it's cooked in America rather than the Dominican Republic?
I feel like the seasonings over there are different, or something in the water, but I feel like over there it just tastes more authentic, and you can tell that it's not more cooked with love, but you feel like you're having a home-cooked meal over there.
Are there any traditions that you miss celebrating in your home country?
I miss celebrating Carnaval a lot because I feel like here in Florida, it's not as widely celebrated as places like New York or Miami. Well, specifically, in Miami, they celebrate it more than here in Oviedo and Orlando. So maybe that would be something that I miss.
Other than cultural and traditions, what are some things you miss about your home country?
The thing I miss most from my country would probably be my family. I feel like it's a little bit difficult growing up without my family here because a lot of my family lives back in the Dominican Republic. And yeah, that would probably be the part that I miss the most from being over there.
What are some differences that you've seen from living in America and visiting the Dominican Republic?
I've noticed that the way kids are like brought up, like the way they're raised is so different here and there, because I feel like here teachers and not teachers but parents and adults are more lenient towards their students and their kids than over there. I feel like over there there's a lot more discipline than here, and you definitely notice the way kids act over here is very different than over there.
How do you feel that the discipline from over there and other experiences in your culture has affected your life in America?
I feel like since my parents have raised me sort of with those Dominican traditions from over there, but implying them in my life over here, that I've grown to be super, like, not to like brag or whatever, but I feel a little bit more well-rounded, and I feel like a little bit more grounded and humble sometimes, especially when I go back over to the Dominican Republic and see how the living conditions are there. It like humbles me and it makes me think everything I have and be thankful for everything that I have and can experience over here.
Okay, thank you. This has been Angelina Habib on the Husky Heritage Podcast. Thank you for listening.